We are very blessed today to have Eric Hellman as our speaker and Holly Arntzen as our singer and musician. As a kid, Eric was a super jock, competently playing many different sports: football, soccer, hockey, baseball, basketball. Who knew? And Holly, well, she's an inspiring singer, songwriter, and musician. And together with her life and creative partner, Kevin Wright and Nathan, and other musicians, they are known as the Wilds. They teach school children about ecology through music and songs about the environment. Let's listen now to Holly sing Stand Up. Take it away, Holly.
Thank you, Pixie. Let's get my dulcimer on here. Good morning, everybody. That creaking you can hear is my piano bench. It's like being in a sailing ship. You can see it in the sunlight. You can see it in the clear blue sky. You can hear it in the whales call and in the eagle's cry. Taste it in pure water. You can smell it in clean air. Millions of people can become simultaneously aware. Stand up and be counted for what you know is right. Stand up for survival of every form of life. Stand up and be counted. Do what you do best. Stand up for the planet and future generations. Help set an example for the rest. Share the victory when the Haida claim their land. Feel it in Carmana's 1,000-year-old Sitka stands. Hear it from endangered peoples like the Panan and the Kayapo, fighting for their forest culture so their children have a place to grow. Stand up and be counted for what you know is right. Stand up for survival of every form of life. Stand up and be counted. Do what you do best. Stand up for the planet and future generations. Help set an example and stand up and be counted for what you know is right. Stand up for survival of every form of life. Stand up and be counted. Do what you do best. Stand up for the planet and future generations. Help set an example for the rest. Come on, stand up. Stand up and be counted. Stand up for survival. Come on now, stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up for the planet and future generations. La 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 la.
Hey, I second that. I'm standing up, sitting down here, Holly. I guarantee you. Okay, so we all know that Unity of White Rock is part of a worldwide unity movement, and we all share a common vision. Let's affirm that together. We envision a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And to fulfill our vision, we do what is ours at Unity of White Rock to do. And this is captured in our mission statement. Let's affirm that together too. Our mission is to be a loving, inclusive community, co-creating with Spirit to transform lives. And let's bring together our mission and our vision with this affirmation. Let's read it together. God is, I am, we are, together transforming the world. Woo! The Unity theme for 2021 is how to stay centered no matter what. And in February, we do this using our power of strength. I express the strength and vitality of God. And this morning, Peter will read our daily word. Peter?
Good morning. Today's daily word is inspired by Isaiah 26:3. Those of steadfast mind keep you in peace because they trust in you. I express the peace of God. Peace, be still. With these words, Jesus claimed his authority and calmed the stormy waters. Following Jesus' example, I too claim authority. In a stressful moment, I center my awareness in the divine presence that lives in me and expresses through me. This divine presence is perfect life, love, and wisdom. It is peace that nothing and no one can disturb. No matter what may be happening around me, at the center of my being, there is always peace. It is an aspect of my divine inheritance, as near as my next thought. I release all fear and tension and embrace the peace of God. As I do, divine peace radiates from the center of my being. It clarifies my thoughts, calms my emotions, and relaxes my body. In every situation, I am a presence of peace. I express the peace of God.
Thank you, Peter. That was beautifully spoken. And are you our next reader of the daily word? We are looking for people who would like to read the daily word and be part of our fun service. So if you're inclined to do that, please send us an email at Unity of White Rock, and we will make an arrangement to have you read too. So now let us prepare for Eric's meditation and his message as we sing Gentle with Myself along with Karen Drucker. And after we hear from Eric, Holly will sing us back into the third dimension with Blessing in Disguise.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I I will be tender with my heart, and I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart, and I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself, and I love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself, and I love myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Now I know I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself, and I hold myself like a newborn baby child. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself, and I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I rock myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
Good morning, Unity White Rock, and to all of you who have happened into this time of service and meditation. I invite you to settle back into your chair or whatever you're sitting on, lying on, and perhaps put your hands on your heart or some part of your body that feels like it needs gentleness, tenderness, and love. I will be gentle with myself and only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Be aware as you take another breath of feeling yourself beginning to unwind and relax. Feel the pulses in your hands or your feet or other parts of your body, and just notice them. And as you take another breath, feel yourself going deeper. Your legs and your torso beginning to unwind. Notice the thoughts that are present. You may have been running to get here, or you may have worry thoughts in your mind, and those are okay. Just notice them. And then begin to invite God in. Begin to center your awareness in the deeper truth of your being. Peace, love, or just the presence of the divine. Take another breath. And as you do so, just be still and know that you are in the presence of love. And take a few moments to be quiet, still, and listen in the silence. And as you begin to hear my voice again, take another breath. Begin to feel the pulsations in your body, the warmth or the cold. Feel your eyes beginning to flicker and letting in the light. Feel yourself returning to the room, to your body. And just gently feel yourself unwinding, unfurling, like those butterfly wings that Holly sang about. Feel yourself coming back to your room, to my voice, to the third dimension, and relaxing into your chair and being present once again. And welcome back. And welcome to today's service, which I've called God, Give Me the Strength. Perhaps some of you have said that occasionally in your heart or your mind. Well, that's what I want to explore with you today. This entire year, Unity groups worldwide will be exploring what are called the 12 powers, and we talked about these last month. These are powers of the mind, the human mind, that help us to grow beyond our human mind into our divine self. And as you've heard, for February, the word and the power is strength. So let's look at strength first through images in our mind. All of us, I think, have images or pictures inside of that word strength. So it might be, for example, as strong as steel or as strong as an eagle. Look at those and see what you see in those for strength. Or maybe it's this picture of Mount Everest, strong as a mountain. Take a breath and just let that feeling of strength, those pictures wash over you. Now, when you personally think of strength in life, what kinds of situations come to mind? Might it be something like this athlete in a gym strengthening his body? Or might it be the strength that it takes for a single mother with one or maybe two jobs and taking care of children as well, the strength that it takes to get through life? Or maybe it's the strength of psychological or emotional or even physical pain that it takes to get through those. Maybe it's the strength of getting through COVID, whether you work in a hospital or not. It has taken a lot of strength this past year to move forward. Maybe it's the strength of people standing up and speaking out, speaking for what matters most to them, for their truths. Maybe it's the strength of taking a leap in your life, a leap of faith, a leap into a new job, a new relationship, or a new part of life. And maybe it's the strength of simply being yourself and dancing like no one is watching. Whatever kind of strength it is, listen to it inside. See how it calls you. What kind of strength are you wanting more of in your life right now? That's really the whole theme for today, to listen for your own call inside. What is it you are wanting more of for you in your life right now? So today I'd like to explore strength, not just through words, but through our experiences. And what came to me was to select the 4 hardest times of my life and to then explore the different kinds of strength that got me through them. So that's where I'd like to begin. Experience number 1. Experience number 1 for me began at the age of 19. The first time I fell deeply, deeply in love with a woman. And we got married. And it was a profound opening of my heart. But, and there are always those buts, right? But it also brought in the most conflict I ever remember experience. In fact, we began fighting or arguing even before we began to get married. And over the course of 8 years, it was a very tumultuous and often painful and conflicted marriage. So what got me through? I had to reflect on that. Well, the first thing that helped me to get through was commitment. I made a commitment to this woman to stay with her through sickness and health and through tough times and good ones. And the commitment kept me. And the second one was willingness. I had to be willing to open myself up to exploring where the pain was coming from. I went into therapy. I went into Gestalt. We went into counseling together. Transactional analysis. It eventually took me into A Course in Miracles, opening up my spiritual work in a way that I had never wanted to do. But those were the strengths that kept me in that relationship. And what eventually saw me through it, though, was my desire for peace. I was in so much conflict that I had to open up my spiritual doors wide. And eventually I got the message that I'd done enough healing with her that it was time to leave, and we did so peacefully. So in what situations in your life have you experienced strength? You won't have a lot of time right now to think about them, but maybe you'll want to look at this video again online after this to be able to ponder what situations in your life have given you strength. Experience number 2. Well, this may look a little strange, but this was a work project I had in 1992 and 93. I was given the opportunity and challenge of creating an environmental directory about hazardous materials for Canada and the United States. And I created this directory called the Has Pages. Well, it was expected to be a short-term job with lots of money. And what it turned out to be was a long-term job that totally exhausted me and left me with very little money. It was the toughest job I've ever had in my life. So reflecting on it, I think that the strengths that got me through were, again, that word commitment. I had made a commitment to create this directory, and through thick and thin, in days short and long, and even overnights of working, I stayed with it. I also had a vision that I'd come in with to create the best possible directory to help people across North America and to help the planet through managing hazardous materials. And that also helped get me through. But eventually, when it came time to let the project go, because I was actually served a court order saying I have to stop selling this directory that I had created. This publisher imposed this on me. I had to let it go. And so what got me through both before it and afterward was prayer and faith, asking within, what's my next step? It's when I asked for 1.5 years, and even in the day that I got served with that writ, what do you want me to do? And then it was choosing love. It was asking the Spirit, so what was this about? And getting the message, well, you didn't really love that with your whole heart, did you? My answer was no, and the voice then said, then why not do something you love? And that catapulted me into the next stage of my work. Underneath the strength that you may be calling for inside today, what are you really wanting? What feeling? Peace, healing, release from conflict. What is it you're really wanting in your heart of hearts? Again, something to ponder in the week to come. Experience number 3. Well, back to relationships again. Getting into my second long-term relationship, this marriage was so different. So different. Again, an inner voice led me to open the door to the willingness to go out with this woman. And I have over the last week just been reflecting on how beautiful, how much we soared in this relationship, truly profound. And yet, even early on, I recognized that there were blocks, places that we couldn't seem to get through together. And year on year, as the beauty continued, so the blocks hindered that closeness, and we grew further apart in the heart. And eventually, I had to leave. 17 years later, the most beautiful relationship I've ever been in, and also the toughest decision I've ever had to make in my life. So for me, looking back, the strengths were, again, that word commitment. I committed myself to love. And that's why I stayed there. And that's also why I stayed, was the desire for the joy and connection that we had had early on, even when we ran into problems. I did whatever I could, going into counseling again, individually or together, doing healing workshops. Commitment and desire to have that richness were what carried me through. And then what saw me through to the end of it was recognizing that my wife no longer wanted to change, and that because I only wanted to share love and acceptance with her, I had to accept that she wanted something different from what I did. And then my strength was the willingness to let go. Where does strength come from? Does it come from just yourself or from something much larger than ourselves? Another question you might want to ponder in the week to come. My last experience for sharing here today is this one. The first time I did a talk in a church was in 2007. After 26 years of walking the spiritual path, something in me cracked open and said I need to open up my voice, which I had held tightly shut until that time. And in fact, I was invited to give 4 talks that year, and with each one, it was both an opening, which I was grateful for, but there was another part of me that was deeply, deeply tight. And it was like a slog, a really difficult thing to prepare for the next one. And after the 4th talk, I recognized that it was too much for me. Actually, it wasn't too tough. You know, in the professional speaking circles, they say, keep doing it until you can do it with peace. Well, I had a different choice. I said, I need to do more healing inside. So when I do my next spiritual talk, I can have an open heart and a loving mind and being to give it. So it took me 9 years more before I did my next spiritual talk at Unity New Westminster and then at Unity White Rock, because I had done the healing. So the strengths that got me through those difficult times were as simple as these. My desire to be free with my spiritual voice. As much as I had repressed it, I wanted to be free. And I needed to take action, very small steps each day, each week, each month, to even speak to one person about spirituality or God, and then the next, and then the next. And that eventually what saw me through it was my commitment to opening up this part of me and the desire to share this consciousness shift that we are about in Unity. All of these stories are about some kind of strength, but here's the challenge, and this is what a mentor of mine once said to me. Our greatest strength can also be our greatest weakness. And that sounds kind of funny, and yet when I look back at my strength of commitment, of staying with it, sometimes got in the way of my recognition that I needed to let go, like needing to let go that hazardous materials directory or eventually my second marriage. True strength, I've learned, always needs what I'll call its opposite. Holding on is one aspect of strength, and so is letting go. Being committed and yet also being willing to change. It's about standing up for what we believe in strength, and yet also being very gentle and tender with ourselves. It's about being strong enough to love. For me, what I've come to recognize through putting this talk together and looking back on these experiences is that it's love in all of its different forms: passion, commitment, action, service. It's about rest and kindness as well, gentleness and patience. It's about compassion and healing and peace. These are what ultimately transform us behind and underneath the strength that we seek. At least that's my experience. So which of these do you want to grow perhaps take a look at those words and see which word speaks to you, pops out at you, and maybe take a cue for reflection in the next week about that. The truth is, we all have challenges. Even in relationships. Was it something I said? You know, the truth of human life and all species, I think, is that we also suffer. In addition to love, we have pain and misery and fear. And the human journey is, how do we not avoid those, but grapple with them and heal with them and grow into that more loving truth of ourselves. So yet, even in our toughest times, when we have no strength to go forward, seemingly, it's our commitment to love that opens us up, or at least it has for me. Thus, asking for strength, which was the beginning and the focus of this, is really kind of like a blessing in disguise. Saying the words, God, give me the strength, is about asking for perseverance and courage and help and support. We definitely need those to get through. But underneath those, it's also about having a willingness to let love in, and really to let God in, the divine, the truth of who we really are. In all of my stories, it was always love, or the need for it, that gave me the strength to move forward. So I invite you to take a breath, and let's just take a moment and bring those ideas, whatever I've said and whatever's spoken in your heart, take them inside and say, God, help me to remember what I've heard and felt today. Help me to open up those doors in my heart to what I'm most seeking, to the new relationship, to the healing of the old, to new work and the release of the past, to the new vision and the permission to move forward, to stand up and to love. Help me, God. Take a breath, release them, and know that at some level you will receive the insights and the answers, the feelings and the movement forward into your next step. And with that, I'd like to introduce Holly again. Holly and I actually met for the first time back in 1990. And when I heard that powerful voice and saw this woman who stood up in her being, I was enthralled. Welcome, Holly.
Well, thanks very much, Eric. I'm honored and grateful to be here with everybody, and thank you for your kind words. And you asked me to, oh, 1 second, I'll just turn off my reverb here while I'm talking. You mentioned about a blessing in disguise, and that asked that I play this song, and that I just give a bit of the background, how this song came to be written. Back in March 2020, when the shutdown happened, and Kevin and I were sitting looking at each other because we couldn't do any of our school programs, no performing, and we started to write a song, and we saw these news articles. I imagine many of you did. There was one about how in this city in Pakistan, for the first time in 30 years, they could see the Himalayas, and they could see the stars from their rooftops in the night. And that the air quality in places in China like Beijing had improved, and you could see the skyline of the city of Los Angeles because emissions had dropped so dramatically because we all just stayed put. And we thought, okay, well, there's a blessing in disguise. This terrible pandemic, which has caused so much suffering and misery, at the same time has revealed things about our society. And one of them is our ability to change so quickly. You know, hundreds of millions, if not billions of us around the planet changed our behavior in a matter of a week or two, which affected the emissions. So that was just an example of, you know, with this seemingly intractable, overwhelming issue of the climate crisis, you know, when we put our minds to it and we act together, we can make big change. And if we just focus on what that opportunity is, that's the blessing in disguise. There are blue skies in China for the first time in forever. With the factories being shut down, the air is getting clearer. Many things we know today can be gone tomorrow. And I know the fear is real, oh, but it's a blessing in disguise. Himalayas for the first time in forever, and the stars in the night sky. From the rooftops of the people, you can clearly see the skyline of the city of angels. And I know the fear is real, oh, but it's a blessing in disguise. These are the risks we're taking, changes we're making. We can keep our heads together and come through this all right. Listen to the planet singing, voices are ringing. This is a new song, shining a light. These are the risks we're taking, changes we're making. We can keep our heads together and come through this all right. Listen to the planet singing, voices are ringing. This is a new song, shining a light. Everybody stays apart, and the world comes together, finding love in the distance, or with the right motivation. Many things we know today can be changed tomorrow, and I know the fear is real, oh, but it's a blessing in disguise. Oh, it's just a blessing in disguise. Eyes, eyes, eyes. Oh, it's just a blessing in disguise. Eyes, eyes, eyes. Oh, it's just a blessing in disguise.